for my number 10, we'll go with Bountygate. Just because that started the year. It's so far back now at this point. But you can obviously tell it had an effect on the Saints season. Team finishes 8-8. I got to figure if they had Sean Payton as their head coach, they probably go 10-6. Probably pull off a wild card over Minnesota. And who knows what the playoffs turn into if you end up with New Orleans at Green Bay in the first round instead of Minnesota at Green Bay. So we'll go with that one. I'll go with Bountygate as my number 10. I think that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Bueno. I'm assuming that's one of yours, but that's not your 10? Or it is your 10? I don't know.
Well, I thought you were just gonna go. I thought we were gonna do it like we've been doing.
Like we do our. Well, we haven't done a top 10 in a couple weeks. That's what That's why I'm a little off my pace. My bad. I know our NBA power rankings. We just go 10 through 1. We bang it out. So we'll just keep it going. My apologies. Bountygate at number 10. We'll go to at number 9. We'll say the replacement referees. I specifically put Green Bay at Seattle. Because we obviously all know that Green Bay at Seattle could have really changed a lot of things about what unfolded in the NFC playoff chase. And it would have been interesting. And it would have been the only loss all year for Seattle at home, which just would have added to it. So the replacement refs will never be forgotten in what they did this year. At number 8, I got something that some people might not have thought of. But this could have been the last year that we even perhaps talk about some of the greatest wide receivers that we've had the opportunity to grow up and watch. This is probably going to be the last year you're going to see Randy Moss on a football field. Probably the last year, even though he didn't play this year, probably never going to see Terrell Owens on a football field again. And Chad Ochocinco. Now, I don't put him in the class of Moss and Owens, but at the same time, through our especially the main part of our lifetime, Ochocinco was a pretty big factor in the NFL, entertainment-wise, and as an NFL wide receiver. So, I mean, to me, that's something that I'm not going to forget about this year. Moss, Owens, to me, Moss is a future Hall of Famer. Owens, if he didn't piss off the guys that do the voting, he's a future Hall of Famer statistic-wise. Ochocinco, I don't really consider him a future Hall of Famer, and if he is, I'd say probably like second or third ballot. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it'd have to be a pretty weak Hall of Fame class for him to have an opportunity to get in, to be honest with you. But T.O. and Moss, I think, stats-wise at least, are definitely good enough. We'll keep it going. We'll say that my next memory from this year is going to be the collapse of the Andy Reid era in Philadelphia. Never thought I'd see it happen. I honestly didn't. I thought that man was going to walk off on the top, not the bottom. Never saw him walking away from Philadelphia with a 4-12 record and just a mess right now with the franchise. Things just went downhill for him once Jimmy Johnson passed away and that Eagles D slowly declined. And you just could tell that defensively he had no idea how to bring in the right guy and fix the issues that they were having. So I'm going to go Andy Reid era ending in Philadelphia. We'll move over to the Jets clown car of Tim Tebow, Mark Sanchez, and Rex Ryan. Just a joke. What a waste of 17 weeks of fans' lives. I feel bad for Jets fans. I truly do. Just a headache, especially if you live in the tri-state area. Every magazine, every newspaper, every day. It was just ridiculous. So definitely won't forget that about this year. Then I want to move over to the rookie quarterbacks. I was shocked by the performances of the rookie quarterbacks. And look, Tannehill and Whedon didn't really do much to impress people. But you notice, to me at least, I watched a couple Dolphins games this year. Tannehill actually started getting better as the year went on. They finished the year 7-9, a better mark than a lot of people had them at. So all in all, I was impressed with Tannehill. Even himself did a decent job. And then when I look at Whedon, he's the only one out of this whole rookie class I didn't like. But Russell Wilson, 11-5. Andrew Luck, 11-5. Neither one won a division title, but both teams make the playoffs. Robert Griffin, 9-7, win a division title, end the season on a 7-game win streak.
Oh, wait, was he 9-7 or 10-6?
They went 9-7. No, wait. 10-6. No, they were 3-6 and then won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. 10-6. My bad. So 3 rookie quarterbacks combined for 32 wins and only 16 losses, 2-to-1 ratio. I'd say that's a pretty good year for rookie quarterbacks on the year. So I will not forget about the rookie quarterbacks. Then we get down to that would be number 5, I guess you'd say. We'll go to number 4. At number 4, Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson's returns. I was going to do them separate, but I'm like, there's enough things about this year I can remember. I'm going to do them together. Peyton Manning returning, possibly MVP. Adrian Peterson returning, possibly an MVP candidate, possibly a comeback player of the year candidates with both these guys. Well, they are both in those award races, but just a return of them, watching Peyton Manning get better week by week by week and mold and develop and build a rapport with that Denver Broncos offense week by week by week. Really impressive to me. And then Adrian Peterson, over 2,000 yards after literally a full year. Like, we posted on our fan page the picture of him in his hospital bed after surgery, rocking a New Year's Eve hat and with the little blowout, little blower sound maker thing. And I believe exactly 1 year before that, he fell 9 yards short of the NFL rushing record. Very impressive for both guys. Number 3, the Ray Lewis final entrance dance. Now, I know this was a playoff game on Sunday. I don't care. I'm including it. I DVR'd it. I got that 3 minutes saved on my DVR. Will not delete it. Ray Lewis, final entrance dance in Baltimore. Never, ever, ever will forget that, nor how I felt. I got pumped on that one. Now, number 2 is a negative memory for me. Romo choking again in Week 17. I will not forget that about this year, especially because of how I felt. I felt very different about the Dallas Cowboys going into Week 17 this year than I ever have. I really felt strong about them. And once again, Romo, 2 picks on their first possession, an inexcusable interception with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter with a chance to drive down and win the game. So I will never forget that. And finally, my number 1 thing to remember from this year is the Dallas Cowboys ruining the New York Giants Super Bowl party in Week 1. And I put that above Romo choking because it's a happy memory. So that will be my number 1 memory.
Is it a memory you're going to remember 10 years from now?
Oh, yeah, it will. Because I'm not going to – because what else am I going to remember from this time about being a Cowboy fan? Other than bad memories, no playoff appearances, and choking in big games. So, yeah, I will remember that 10 years from now. I really will. So that would be my top 10 things that I'm going to remember from the 2012-2013 NFL season.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. The first thing is I'm not going to put this as a number, but just an honorable mention because it seems that it's been the last few years of this. But the terrible primetime games, especially the Thursday night games this year, was just terrific. And I'll remember that because they were that bad.
And they're going to keep doing it to us, too. But I actually like that one.
But to actually kick off my top 10, I actually have Ray Lewis's retirement at number 10. Happened so late in the year that it's almost borderline. You can't even count it as a year, but it happened before the playoffs, so I count it for this season. His last go-around, it's sad, but you knew it was coming. I mean, the man played 16 or 17 NFL seasons. You can't play forever. One of the best linebackers I'll ever see. Number 9 is where I have Bountygate. Happened at the beginning of the year, but you could see the way it affected the Saints all year long. They were not the same team. I expect them to be back to being a playoff and a better team next year. And they were a lot better after the first 4 games of the year, too, where they went 0-4. But Bountygate's just something that's going to stick with me for a little while. It is. Number 8 is where I have the Sanchez and the Jet Circus. I mean, nobody's really – I'm not going to forget about the Tebow, the Sanchez, butt fumbles, tattoos, all the nonsense that went on with the Jets this year. Pretty crazy. But, yeah.
Just a circus.
Just an absolute mess.
Whoever came up with the clown car and design and all that, they nailed it because it really was a circus in New York. It
really was. Number 7 – the rookie QB is just, they play well, they play great. I still don't like Russell Wilson, but he's played really well. The same with RG3, even though he got hurt at the end of the year. He's not my style of quarterback per se that I would want to lead my team, but he is a great player, phenomenal player, very athletic, can do a lot of things on the football field. Played outstanding football. And again, without these rookie QBs, without Luck, without Griffin, without Russell Wilson, none of those three teams make the playoffs, and none of those three teams are over 500 even.
I completely agree.
So I look at them as they made a huge impact on their teams. And
Seattle,
I'm going to remember that
500
because
at best.
they are quarterbacks that, if this is one of those classes that we'll be still talking about 7, 8, 10 years down the road. Possibly.
Possibly, like the 04 class.
Number 6 is where I have the replacement refs. You got to remember the replacement refs. And in that nonsense, you got to remember Green Bay's debacle. They should have won that game. They should have. That game mattered. Every game matters. And the replacement refs got it way wrong on that one. Gonna remember that. Number 5 is where I have Dallas's D-tackle Brent getting the DUI and killing his best friend.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even...
It was just something that was so tragic and sad that, you feel for the guy, and then all that happened with him being on the sidelines, and then for the one game, and then them telling him that he wasn't allowed on the sideline for the next game, and the mother's reaction, everything that went along with it. There was so much there. Number 4 is where I have Belcher's suicide. Murder-suicide, where he killed his girlfriend and then went and killed himself at the Chiefs practice facility. Sad. I mean, I don't do this list to be sad, but you want to talk about things I'll remember from the year, I'm going to remember that. Yeah. Kid was 25 years old.
Left behind, a 3-month daughter?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Absolutely tragic. Number 3 is where I have Peyton Manning. What a comeback. Through all those neck surgeries, after sitting out a year, to come back and play at the level he's played at has been fantastic. Unbelievable. He's got the Broncos on the verge of a home playoff game. He's got them where he expected them to be. I didn't think they'd be quite this good. Again, I was proven wrong. Did I think they would win the division and be a playoff team? Absolutely. But I see him a 3-loss team? No. Peyton Manning's just been outstanding. Number 2 is where I got Megatron. Dude broke Jerry Rice's all-time receiving record. Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver who ever lived.
He's one of the few players that nobody even argues.
He broke all the records. He set all the trends. He is the man when it comes to work ethic and pride and the way you want to play Super Bowl. Everything about the guy was just winning. Megatron breaks his receiving record for most yards in a year. Pretty outstanding year.
Yeah.
Got to give him props. And number 1, Adrian Peterson. What he's been able to do as a running back coming off of ACL surgery in less than a year, and to be a 2,000-yard rusher, and not just be a 2,000-yard rusher, but to be number 2 all-time in the list of yardage for a season, finish 9 yards short of the record, less than a year removed from that surgery is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's why he's got to be at number 1 and to lead the Vikings to the playoffs in the way he did. I know they didn't win this past weekend, and it really wasn't even that great a game, but without Adrian Peterson, they're not even in the conversation. They're not even sniffing the playoffs.
No, they're not.
So to me, Adrian Peterson's number 1. That's my top 10.
Boom. You know what? It's funny because Pixel mentioned, he's like, man, he's Debbie Downer right now. And I'm like, yeah, he sort of is. But at the same time, it's like, these are definitely things you're not going to forget
These are
about
things
this
that, like,
season.
when
Yeah, they're,
when
like,
you propose it to
important.
me, like, that's why I thought we'd have a lot of the same similar ones, is because there were so many impactful things from this season. And again, it's not all sunshine and roses and fairies here.
No, and that's the
It's
thing.
real life,
I'm
and-
glad you mentioned these things because I didn't, and there are things about the year that, like, you know, if you were going to take the NFL season and, you know, do the little time capsule thing where you throw in all your little memories from it and then bury it and dig it up 20 years from now, these are all things that you would want to hope that people do remember. You know, you don't want, you know, even though the kid from Kansas City killed himself and killed his girl, maybe you don't really want to remember everything about him for what he did, but at the same time, you don't want to forget about his girl that got murdered, and you don't want to forget about the little girl that lost both her parents in a matter of a couple hours. You don't want to forget about, you know, the kid from Dallas who gets killed because his friend drove drunk, and
then
you find out he was completely sober.
To find out he was sober, and, you know, it's really just, I mean, sad.
Yeah.
But there are things I'm going to remember. There are things I'm going to take away from this year.
So there's good things and bad things. It's like everything else in life.